Envy is a deadly sin, and it's almost unavoidable. We live in a world with lots and lots of inequality. You see, some people have more resources than other people. In the same world, we have people that can't pay their bills, can't make ends meet, can't even pay for basics. And there's other people in the same world with endless resources. You don't see that imbalance amongst the animals. You don't see, the luxuriating squirrel and the homeless one. But this is a feature in human life, and it's been like that for as long as we've existed. But of course, inequality and imbalance amongst people, it's not just with finances. One guy has got a full head of hair, and the other guy's balding. And one guy has all sorts of teeth trouble, and the other one has perfect teeth. And one has misshapen ears, and they're embarrassed about it. And the other one just looks like a model. And one has a great singing voice, and the other can't carry a tune. And some people have rich lives. They have a spouse and siblings and a dynamic social life, beautiful families. And other people are alone, and they're lonely. And some people want to have children, and for whatever reason doesn't work out. And others just have beautiful families. And some have success in their job and an enriching career, and others suffer. And some people have great intelligence and capability and capacity and great personality and engaging personalities, and others are just a bit dull. In every area of life, there's inequality. And where there's inequality, there tends to be envy. And envy is a great ill. Our sages succinctly tell us, Hakena, the envy, and lust and honor, remove a person from the world. When someone has envy, they are withdrawn from the world. They are removed from the world. Now, the commentaries offer different interpretations as to what this means. Which world are we talking about? The most common interpretation of this Mishnah is that if someone has envy, or they're consumed with lust or pursuit of honor, they can't live a life. Such a life is unlivable. It destroys their emotional life. It destroys their equilibrium. They have sadness, they have anxiety that makes their life unlivable. We have an example of someone in the Torah who was envious. A great man was brought down, was destroyed by envy. Of course, that is Korach. Korach is Moshe's first cousin, Moshe and Aaron's first cousin. Their fathers are brothers. And he is envious. Why is Moshe the king? Why is Aaron the high priest? What about me? And specifically, the family, the Levite family that they came from, was the family of Kehas, one of the sons of Levi. And the prince of this family was Elitzaphan ben Uziel, another cousin, together with Moshe, Aaron, and Korach. And Korach argued that that spot should have gone to him. And his envy, it was so unbearable to him that he launched a rebellion. And the end result of that was the sinkhole that removed him from the world. He was literally removed from the world. So we see how destructive and damaging envy is. Now, in my book, I suggested maybe a different interpretation of this Mishnah. Maybe when the Mishnah says that envy removes someone from the world, it's referring to the world to come. Because we know that the Almighty repays righteousness. If someone does a mitzvah, they receive reward. However, the venue of that reward, the domain of that reward, it can be in this world, and it can be in the world to come. It's possible for a person to receive their reward here, cash in early, or defer the reward to the next world. And the Talmud tells us that the Almighty is fair, and He is trustworthy, and He is not guilty of any iniquity. And He rewards everyone, the righteous and the wicked alike. Everyone receives reward for their righteousness, for their mitzvos. There's just a difference. The righteous, they receive their reward in the world to come, in the world of the souls, in the world that is eternal, in the world that truly matters. Whereas the wicked, they too receive reward for their mitzvos. Even if they did only one mitzvah, they will receive reward for it. But they receive their reward for their mitzvos in this world. They exhaust all the reward here. And this, by the way, may be one of the answers to the age-old question: how come we see that the righteous, sometimes in this world, they don't do as well as the wicked? Not only do we see the wicked flourishing, we see the righteous not flourishing in this world. It's a double question. Why do bad things happen to good people? And why do good things happen to bad people? And this is one of the answers. Because everyone invariably does something good, does some mitzvahs, has some merit, has some righteousness on their account. And the wicked, they get paid over here. And therefore, when we see them over here, we see their reward. Whereas the righteous, they have their reward reserved for the world to come. That's what the Talmud tells us. Everyone receives their reward. The only difference is the righteous receive their reward in the world to come, and the wicked, they receive their reward here. Now, there's a major problem with this idea. Again, this is sourced in the Talmud, the Book of Tainus, on page 11a. The Talmud is working with a certain premise, with a certain assumption. And the assumption is that God is fair. He is trustworthy. He is not guilty of any iniquity. He's going to repay everyone, the righteous and the wicked, but He's wicked. Nonetheless, even if you're wicked, you will get reward for your righteousness. You may have done a paltry amount of mitzvahs, but you will receive every bit of reward for every righteous thing that you do, no matter how wicked in aggregate a person may be. God is fair. God is trustworthy. God is not guilty of any iniquity. But here's the thing. Here's the question. We know that the reward in the world to come is in a completely different class than reward over here. So much so that 1 millisecond of reward in the world to come exceeds the cumulative entirety of all the reward in this world. So how can the Talmud say, well, God is fair, He's trustworthy, He's not guilty of any iniquity, He repays everyone. He repays the righteous and the wicked. It's just that the righteous receive their reward in the world to come, and the wicked, they receive their reward over here. How can you, on one hand, say God is fair, and then describe a patently unfair system? A righteous person and a wicked person do the exact same mitzvah, says the Talmud, they'll both be repaid. Oh, but the righteous, they'll be repaid in the world to come, and the wicked, they will receive their reward over here. And we know those are not equal. There is no exchange between these two worlds. The example that I've given in the past is, suppose the reward for a mitzvah is 100. You could have 100 pesos or 100 kilograms of gold or platinum or palladium. It's not the same thing. It's not fair. Here's the answer. Envy, lust, pursuit of honor remove a person from the world. When someone's envious, what are they saying? Someone has something and I want it. They are voting with their desires by saying, I want reward here. Pursuit of honor, lust, these are all pursuit of reward, of benefits in this world. The Almighty is so fair, not only will He reward every person for every bit of righteousness that they may have done, but He'll also allow a person to choose which world they want to be repaid in. And therefore, when we say that envy is a great ill, it's a deadly sin, and the Mishnah says it removes a person from the world, perhaps that's a reference to the world to come. Because when someone is envious, they are in effect saying, I want my reward over here. They're in effect saying, I'm prioritizing this world. And therefore, they will be rewarded in the venue of their choice, namely, over here. So it's a bit of a subtle point. But envy, on one hand, is almost a ubiquitous phenomenon because there's so much inequality in this world. And every single person you encounter probably has something about them that may be better than you. Because there's, again, an unequal distribution of gifts. So you're liable to just be envious every day. And here we see it's very dangerous because this attribute is telling God, I want to be repaid over here. Now, when someone overcomes their envy and is just happy for other people, when they see other people succeed, when they see other people being promoted, when they see other people flourishing, it makes them joyous. That's a tremendously elevated quality. And there's one person that embodies anti-envy, which is happiness for other people when they have a lot. There's one person that embodies that more than anyone else, and that, of course, is Aaron. Moshe, his younger brother, is being promoted to be the leader of the people. And Moshe's worried. And he tells God, send Aaron in my stead. I don't want Aaron to have to experience the discomfort of witnessing his younger brother outshining him. And God tells Moshe, you worried about Aaron? Vira'acha, he will see you. V'samach belibo, he'll be happy in his heart. He won't just be happy on the surface. Oh, I am so happy for you. Some people could say that externally, but still have a little smidgen of envy in their hearts. Aaron, he'll be happy in his heart, the Torah testifies about Aaron. When he witnesses Moshe, it won't just be external happiness for his brother, it'll be in his heart. Aaron was not guilty of even a shred of envy. He was glad in his heart. And our sages tell us that because of this quality that Aaron embodied, the anti-envy, the gladness in his heart when he witnessed the success and the triumphs and the promotions of others, that's why he merited to become the priest. The priest is from the tribe of the Levites, but it's only from the family of Aaron. And stylistically, the Midrash tells us, Aaron was glad for Moshe in his heart, therefore upon his heart he will have the choshen, the breastplate that carries the names of the entire Jewish nation, of all the tribes. That will be upon the heart of Aaron, because who is a heart that is worthy of being responsible for the entire nation, of being the priest for the entire nation? Someone whose heart bears no envy. It's a beautiful quality that Aaron displayed, the opposite of envy. But of course, it's very hard to achieve that. How do you become like Aaron? We're encouraged to mimic Aaron. We're encouraged to become disciples of Aaron. In fact, in the aforementioned book of Pirkei Avos, there is a Mishnah that says, Heve mitalmidav shel Aaron, you should become a student of Aaron. We're commanded to mimic Aaron, to try to follow his ways, to emulate him. And what were his qualities? He loved peace. He pursued peace. He loved humanity. And he brought them close to Torah. He cared about others. And he loved others so much, he wanted peace. And he pursued it. And he loved humanity. The reason why people don't necessarily love humanity is because they view them as competitors. If you view other people as competitors, they're taking your stuff, potentially. Envy, it's the opposite of love of humanity. Aaron, he had no envy, and therefore he loved humanity. And he wanted to improve their lot, to bring them close to Torah. So we're supposed to become Aaron-like in our anti-envy, but it's really hard. And of course, any parent knows this from a very young age. Kids, when they see other people, how come they got a lollipop and not me? Oh, my piece of cake is smaller. Well, my two boys, my 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, every day they come home from school, they get like a bottle. They drink a bottle, like on the couch. It helps them kind of reset. And if there's like a smidgen more in your brother's bottle, they go nuts. And they're tiny kids. If you were to just give one of them a lollipop and not the other, World War III. It's instant. And it seems so natural. And why wouldn't it be? We want to improve our lot, and we want to give ourselves good experiences, and we see other people having it, we don't. And right away it triggers envy. So the default status is envy, and Aaron, the anti-envy, the lover of humanity, being glad in his heart, that's something you have to acquire. That's something that you have to earn. And today, I want to tell you how to do it. How to become Aaron-like. Now, of course, you're going to learn, but even when you learn it, you have to inculcate it. You have to actually adopt the lessons, not just to understand them. But I want to share with you 3 different ideas, interconnected, of course, but 3 different ideas, perspectives that will help you, will help us boot our tendency for envy forever. And let's start with a very famous verse in the Torah. It's part of the 10 Commandments. Lo sachmod. Thou shalt not covet. When we say envy is a bad thing, it's not only a bad thing, it's a violation of the Torah. There are mitzvahs in the Torah. It's orders, it's commandments. These are not optional. And the Torah tells us that to desire, to covet what your friend has, And it gives a list. His horse, his donkey, his cow, his garment, his wife, his house, and everything that he owns. It's prohibited. And obviously the Almighty understands that we are capable of fulfilling this mitzvah, because the Almighty does not give us mitzvahs that are unfulfillable. By definition, if we are commanded with a given mitzvah, it must be that we are capable of doing it. It's possible to not covet. And again, we struggle with it because, again, since you're little, you've had that tendency. When your sibling or someone else in the class had something that was good, you probably wanted it. It's natural. I'm not blaming anyone for having the instinct of envy. I'm saying it's natural. Yet, we're told, okay, you're an adult now. There's a way for you to understand that it's not appropriate and to change it. Now, I want to share with you a very profound and interesting comment by one of the sages to this verse, thou shalt not covet. This is from the Ibn Ezra, one of the great medieval commentators on the Torah. How is it possible for a person to not covet the goodies, the desirable things of their fellow man? Anoshim rabim yitamu al zos mitzvah. This is how he starts. Many people, they will be perplexed by this mitzvah. How is it possible to ask a person to not desire, to not covet in his heart something which is desirable? Again, if you happen to be surrounded by people who are down on their luck and failures, maybe it's easier. But your neighbor has something really desirable. It's desirable. So how could you not, or how could you be expected to not desire? Ibn Ezra's solution is a very subtle point. He gives two analogies. The first analogy is of a simpleton. Now, the first analogy, I always like to say that this analogy, it's no longer a good analogy because it was destroyed by Disney. So Disney destroyed this comment. I'll tell you why. So the Ibn Ezra says in his first analogy, his first parable, it's about a person who was a peasant. There's a peasant who lives in some rural place in a small village. They're a commoner. They're a commoner who lives in the village. And they see the princess. And she's beautiful. Will the commoner, villager, dream, desire, covet in his heart that he'll marry her? So I say today, because of Disney, there's all these stories about the just the ordinary person, the commoner marrying the princess and so on, or vice versa, the prince marrying the regular commoner. So maybe this is not as applicable today. But he explains is that it's so distant in a common villager, a simpleton, an uneducated, rough commoner peasant. They have nothing to do with the princess. And there's just no way that these two can marry. And he explains that when someone recognizes that a certain thing is inachievable, it's unobtainable, when you realize something is unobtainable, you don't covet it. That's the first analogy that he gives. And the second one maybe brings it home. It would be really cool to sprout wings from our forearms and to be able to fly like a bird. It'd be really, really cool. You never have to pay for tickets to the game. You just fly over it. You don't have to sit in traffic. You just flap your wings and fly as the crow flies. If you ever need to chill out, get some fresh air, you just fly up to heaven. It will be really cool, right? But how come people don't desire it? Because it's just not possible. When a person realizes that something is completely, utterly inaccessible to them, they don't desire it, they don't covet it. Continues the comment of the Ibn Ezra. When you realize that the Almighty God, creator of heaven and earth, all-powerful, omnipotent, omniscient, he distributed all these gifts. And everything that you have, you got from him. And everything that your neighbor has, your neighbor got from him. When you realize that it's the Almighty who created that inequality, who distributed every gift with precision. When you realize that, then you realize that what the Almighty allocated to your neighbor is more inaccessible than sprouting wings and flapping and flying like a bird, is more inaccessible than the simpleton marrying the princess. This is the comment of the Ibn Ezra. People desire things. People covet. People have envy. Why do people have envy? This is the psychological point that he's sharing. At the root of envy, of desire, of coveting what others have, at the root is faithlessness. Because desire, envy is not blind. You don't simply desire nice things. That's not how it works, says the Ibn Ezra. You don't just say, oh, someone has a nice thing, I desire it. That's not really the mechanism at play. The mechanism is that you only desire things because somewhere deep in your psyche you think that you could actually end up with it. There's a reasonable path for me to achieve it. Your desire, your lust, your coveting of other things, it's limited to what you think is achievable. But things that are so completely inaccessible, like to grow wings and to fly, you don't even desire. And therefore, if you truly, truly, truly have faith, and you truly, truly recognize that the Almighty's system and his dominion and his oversight and his providence is perfect, and he gave you exactly what you need, and he gave your neighbor exactly what your neighbor needs, and what the Almighty gave to your neighbor, there's no way for you to undo that. You can't override the will of God. If you truly, truly, truly had faith, you wouldn't have envy. That is the insight of the Ibn Ezra. The last of the Ten Commandments is the full manifestation of faith. The full manifestation of faith is where it changes the system in which a person uses to say what I desire, what I don't desire, what I covet, what I envy, and what I don't. I don't envy the birds that they fly. Why not? It's so cool. Well, it's just not possible for me to get it. If you realize that the Almighty gives something to your neighbor, and that's more impossible for you to get than growing wings, it will change your system of coveting. It will cleanse your envy. A very profound insight. The root of envy is faithlessness. True faith is the recognition that the Almighty prepared my footsteps in life. is holding my hand in life, is guiding me in life, and gives me everything that I need to fulfill my mission. Oh, and is giving my neighbor everything that they need to fulfill their mission. And I am like Adam. A person is obligated to say the world was created for me, because within me there is enough of the goal of the world. And just like Adam, one person, the purpose of the world could have been fulfilled with Adam. Every person is Adam in their own world. And just like Adam was given everything that he needed to fulfill his mission, I am given everything that I need to fulfill my mission. And my neighbor, likewise. And therefore, for me to desire things that are outside of the sphere of what the Almighty gave me is to reject the Almighty's oversight and providence. So here's the first perspective. It's possible for a person to become a student of Aaron. Have no envy. Your friend got promoted. Your friend got the newest toy, the newest device. Now everyone has an iPhone, right? It's not even a big deal. The newest electric Ferrari. Who wants that? The nicest pool. Whatever it is. You're happy for them. This is what the Almighty gave them. Let them enjoy it. Why does it affect me? If the Almighty didn't give it to me, I must not need it. I could be happy for them truly in my heart. That's the first perspective. I want to share with you another perspective. In this past week's parsha, we read about the 12 princes of the 12 tribes who brought 12 tributes on 12 successive days. On the first day of Nisan, so 2 weeks shy of 1 year after the Exodus, the tabernacle was established permanently. And on the first day, the leader, the prince of the tribe of Judah, brought a tribute. And then on the second day, the leader, the prince of the tribe of Yisachar, brought a tribute. And on the third day, the leader, the prince of the tribe of Zevulun, and so on. And then Reuven, the Shimon, the Gad, and so on. Day after day, tribute after tribute for 12 successive days. It's a very long description where it describes every day, every prince, everything that they brought. And the last of the 12, on the 12th day, it was the prince of the tribe of Naphtali. Naphtali is the last prince to bring a tribute. And the name of the prince of the tribe of Naphtali, his name is Achira ben Einon. Achira ben Einon. Now, whenever the Torah has a name for a person, it always is a reference to a certain attribute. It's always descriptive of who they truly are. It's one of the rules of the Torah that the name is always descriptive of who a person truly is. Now, the name of the prince of the tribe of Naphtali is Achira, which, if you know Hebrew, Achi means my brother, Ra is bad. So it's a pretty weird name. It's kind of a strange name. Achira, my brother bad? What is the meaning of this name? So we find an incredible comment by the Orach Chaim. The Orach Chaim actually has a running commentary on all the 12 names of the 12 princes, and he explains in each one of them the meaning of the name and why that particular name is the fitting name of the leader of that particular tribe. And he says that the attribute of the tribe of Naphtali what's the attribute of the tribe of Naphtali? Is that they were happy with their lot. And that's why when Moshe was blessing all the tribes at the end of his life, at the very end of the Torah, chapter 33 of Devarim, he says, Naphtali seva ratzon. Naphtali is satiated. He is content. The attribute of the tribe of Naphtali is contentment. They're happy. They're satiated. Whatever Hashem gave him, he was happy with. Whatever the Almighty allocated to him, he was happy with. That's the attribute of Naphtali. And the name of the prince of Naphtali shows us how they did it. Achi Ra. Whatever is given to my brother is for me Ra, is for me bad. My wife likes to tell my kids, when you look at someone else's portion, yours gets smaller. Oh, I have such a small piece of cake. Look how big my brother's piece of cake is. Well, my wife has a line that she says, whenever you look at someone else's plate, yours shrinks. Achi Ra. Mine, what the Almighty gave me, what's on my plate is good. And what's in my brother's plate is for me bad. Because the Almighty gave it to him, to my brother. It's for my brother. For him, it's good. For me, it's bad. That is the philosophy of Naphtali. Not that my brother is bad. No. What the Almighty apportioned to my brother is for me bad. Because what the Almighty gave to me is what I need. And what the Almighty did not give to me is what I don't need. A very profound insight. If the Almighty gave me certain things, and the Almighty withheld from me certain things. So I have certain gifts that I was given, and I have certain gifts that I was not given. If it was good for me to have those gifts that I was not given, then I would have been given them. It must be from the fact that the Almighty did not give me certain gifts, it must be that it's bad for me. Says Naphtali, what the Almighty gave my brother is for me bad, because it's not given to me. It must not be good for me. And that is the system in which Naphtali was satiated, was content. That's how Naphtali was happy with his lot. That's how Naphtali acquired this attribute, this quality of Aaron, to be so happy with what you have and to not desire what other people have, because you realize that the Almighty gives you exactly what you need. And if the Almighty does not give it to you, it must be it's not good for you. It must be it is bad for you. Now I was thinking that Naphtali is the last of the tribes. In almost every division of the tribes, in every instance, Naphtali is the last one. And you would think, well, someone has to go last, right? Someone has to go last in any delineation of any group. But Naphtali went last. And you can maybe have a gripe about that. Why should I go last? Naphtali trained themselves to understand that you could be happy with your lot. Even if your lot is comparatively worse than your neighbor. No, what the Almighty gives you is good for you. And what the Almighty doesn't give you, give someone else, is bad for you. Achi Ra. Very interesting. A second perspective. And finally, a third idea, a tactic from the Hasidic masters. When the verse says, Lo sachmod, do not covet. Don't covet the house of your fellow, the wife, the maidservant, the ox, the donkey, v'chol asher l'reacha, and everything that belongs to your fellow. What's that last addendum? And everything that belongs to your fellow. The Hasidic masters like to say that this is actually a tactic for how to remedy envy. V'chol asher l'reacha, everything that belongs to your fellow. Think of a package, a collection of all the different things that you have and of all the different things that your fellow has. Envy is where you pinpoint. You say, I want to be myself. I want to be exactly who I am. I just want to take this one little thing from my friend. And you're cherry picking. Envy is cherry picking. It doesn't work like that. If you want envy, you have to hit the whole package. And no one wants the whole package. There's the Hasidic master used to say that if you make your whole life into one bundle, and you take all the bundles of all the world, and you put it all in the middle, and everyone has to go select the bundle, everyone will choose their own bundle. We all want to be ourselves. Envy is the mistaken understanding that it's possible to just cherry pick. Just I'll be myself, just one little thing I'll pluck from my fellow man. And that's not possible. V'chol asher l'reacha. Realize it's a package deal. When you realize it's a package deal, you say, okay, I'm happy with my package. I don't need anything from my fellow's package. So we're talking about envy. And envy could be applied in so many different ways. And it's a great evil. It removes a person from the world, from this world, from the world to come. And we're commanded to not be envious. And we're commanded to emulate Aaron. And we learned 3 different ideas. The Ibn Ezra, he tells us that envy is just a manifestation of faithlessness. If you truly had faith, you would know that what the Almighty gives you is yours, and what the Almighty gives someone else is as inaccessible as flying by flapping your arms is. And once you realize that, oh, if I bolster my faith and I make my faith real, I will solve my envy. We see an idea from the tribe of Naphtali. What the Almighty gave me is good for me. What the Almighty did not give me must be bad for me. What the Almighty gives to my brother and not to me is ra, achi, ra. When you realize that the things that you covet and desire amongst others is not good for you, it's bad for you, why would you want that? And finally, the Hasidic masters tell us that envy is cherry picking. It's plucking one thing out of many from your fellow. It doesn't work like that. The whole package. If you have to choose the whole package, you choose your own package. Envy, it's a ubiquitous characteristic. We see it with kids, so I'm not blaming anyone that's envious. And again, it's a high bar to say, oh, there was someone who was not envious, and that's Aaron. Well, that's the highest bar that there is. But it's a commandment. It's an order from God. And if it's an order, it means it must be fulfillable. And now we see different ways for how we too can become Aaron-like, just happy for others when they succeed, not to be jealous, not to be envious, not to be covetous, not to be desirous, to be content with our lot. My address is Rabbi.Wolbe@gmail.com. It's always a pleasure to learn together, and I look forward to your questions, your comments, and your feedback.